And we're recording. Right. Danny, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Good, good. Yes, I'm fine, thank you very much. Yeah. So, what have you been doing to cope with lockdown? And have you been able to work at home, or how's it work with sort of family and stuff?
Well, I've been furloughed for a while. I'm homeschooling.
Right.
I've created an alter ego to teach my little girl, and I'm called Mr Crumble.
Mr Crumble, right, blimey, the mind boggles.
Helping her learn phonics and all that kind of stuff. So,
yeah,
it's nice. It's it could be a lot worse. It's nice to be at home with family. So
yeah, ditto. Because we're doing the same. We sort of trying to do the same, both working at home and. Are you there still? Now we're back. There we go. Oh, that's it. Yeah, we're both working at home and trying to do the same homeschooling. You know what? The worst thing about this, I thought as a musician, right? Now, obviously, I'm doing most of my lessons. I've managed to keep going over Skype, FaceTime, whatever, which is pretty cool. I thought I'd have loads of time to sit and record and play guitar and write songs. I haven't had any. It's harder work than driving to people's houses, I tell you.
That's kind of strange, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
When you're at home, you get sort of drawn into doing chores and
homeschooling.
yeah, exactly.
So thanks for doing this. I just thought it'd be a good idea to speak to a few of the locals that I've run into over several years of this guitar madness.
Tone.
Tone journey. Just to see what you've been up to and just talk about how you got to where you are, etc., etc. I guess the most important question to ask you is, have you still got that Mojo and fuzz that I sold you? What you're telling me is now third hand.
Third hand now.
Yeah.
I think the problem was it just didn't stack with my Orange Ray. It's such a picky amplifier. I've got another fuzz now. It's that Dodd Carcosa.
Yeah.
And it's got a really pronounced like mid hump, which is kind of strange for a fuzz, and it just works really well. So we had some good time together with the Colossus, was it?
Yeah, Colossus. You know, the problem with it is, though, when you get a fuzz pedal, right? So I think you were using it. Well, I did use it into a clean amp when I was doing loops, because whenever I'm doing looping stuff, I'm always into a clean amp, right?
Yeah.
But like I think what you wanted to use it for, I wanted to give my sort of bass overdrive sound a massive kick. But the problem is, once you find you think, that sounds really good, but then when you turn it off, it's like going from to, it's really hard to, it's just hard to turn it back off again.
Yeah.
The
rest of the sound is going, you're going to turn that thing off?
Yeah, I know.
When it's, when on this one, you can like turn up the bias, so it starts to like, what fuzzers get like when they're really breaking up, and it sounds awesome, but you can't use it for everything.
No. Well, that's but it's the beauty of decent gear, though, isn't it? That somebody else is hopefully now enjoying it, and if it gets sold 4 or 5 more times, that's the whole point in some ways. Yeah. Definitely. So big question then for any guitar player, right? Is tell me a bit about when you started playing, why you started playing, what your first guitar was, and sort of perhaps like early influences. Just what got you into it, really.
Okay. Think back a long way now. So for me, it was hearing Bohemian Rhapsody for the first time when I was like 8, maybe. And I still remember it now. I was like, what's this? I was in the car with my parents, and it's Queen. Oh. So my dad had like a great collection of like vinyl. So once you knew that I was like interested in that kind of music, he got me, into Queen, Genesis. Peter Frampton was a huge influence back then as well, and Thin Lizzy, Black Sabbath. All the great stuff. that if you want to get into rock guitar, you're going to listen to them. So.
Unfortunately, class now is classic rock, but we'll leave that to one side. Yeah.
But so for the longest time, they were like the kinds of guitarists that I was chasing. So I started. I think the first guitar I had was I started on a nylon classical. I've got a little clip somewhere of me playing that when I got it for Christmas when I was 9. That's when I started. So, and I started going for lessons with a few teachers, and I did that for I can't remember how many years now. Just like on and off over several years with different teachers, and you like pick up new things, don't you? And then you reach a point you think, oh, well, I'll keep working on this for a while on my own, and then discover new things. And as far as like theory and things like that, that came along a lot later for me. I only started like diving into theory once because I was too quick to like, oh, I want to learn this lick, I want to learn that, I want to sound like this, so I want to work on, you know, this sound. So it's always been having a sound in my head and trying to recreate that.
Yeah.
And then reach a point where you need some sort of theory, in my opinion, to kind of unlock it further. I wouldn't say I necessarily think about theory all the time. It just, I don't know. It's more of like a subconscious thing a lot of the time.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah,
I'm pentatonic anyway, so.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, God, you and me both. If it weren't for pentatonic, I wouldn't know what to play. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you 100%. I think I've got students that actually quite oldish, because my student range goes from like 8 up to 70 plus, right? And I've got I've got one student in particular. I won't name him in case he watches this. Don't want to embarrass him. But when we first started teaching, he was in his late 60s when I first started teaching him, and he didn't want to know anything about theory. He played 1-4-5. That's all he wanted to do, right? And then I started to say to him, yeah, but just if you started to just think about these 5 notes of this pentatonic scale in different places on the fretboard, and that just then he can't get enough of it now.
Yeah.
You know, so just that simple. The pentatonic is much derided, even though it's what most of us use. Well, sorry, exaggeration alert coming up, but it is what most of us use most of the time, right? Let's be honest. That is a slight, but you know what I mean. You start noodling and you start playing a little blues lick, don't you? And then it maybe goes into something else. Everybody does it. I'm sure you do. I sit down and think, right, I'm gonna play some crazy arpeggio. I'm gonna do this, that, and the other, and I still play the same thing. But yeah, I mean, I started on a nylon string exactly the same way. And I was just saying to my wife earlier that I probably shouldn't admit this, but apart from my dad showing me a few chords, because my dad plays, I've only ever had one guitar lesson in my whole life.
Oh, wow.
And that was with Mrs. Schofield at junior school. And we all sat around in a big circle, right? Quite a lot of us, actually. We must have all had guitars for Christmas. And I couldn't work out why I didn't sound in tune. My dad had shown me how to tune it up. And I'd put a capo on, just because I'd been messing about with it at home. And she says to me, Sam, I can remember it vividly. She said, we're not going to use those just yet. And I was most disappointed. And I think I probably said to my dad, I don't want to go anymore. Just show me some chords and I'll take it from there, you know. But I think part of that comes from perseverance. I'm sure you're the same. That so many of my mates, I tried to get them to learn bass because we couldn't find a bass player, but none of them stuck with it. But I seem to. I 100% agree with you. I think it's so easy for you to get scared when you're playing. Someone starts talking to you about scales and stuff, or just how chords are made up.
Yeah.
You know, I try and get people let's just look at the 3 notes that make up these open position chords, and then think about those 3 notes all over the fretboard. Yeah, and you start finding triads, and it, yeah, just a simple bit of knowledge like that. It just gets so much
eureka moment, isn't it? When you
Anyway, sorry, I interrupted you. It's hard to interrupt. It's hard to interrupt people over these video calls because of the delay. Right. So your first guitar was what? A nylon string, same as me, right?
Yeah.
So what was that?
I think it's got Siri's talking to me. Honor. I think it's
Owner, was it?
Owner, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's a brand. Mine was no name. Yeah.
Very lucky there.
Hardcore, yeah. You were already out of the game. Right. So, what was your first electric guitar?
That was a Squire Strat.
Right.
Yeah, so it's like kits with you get the little amp.
Yeah.
It had about 3 controls on the front, and then this overdrive button that you just push, and it was like whoa. But I mean, around that time,
like one of them.
He was like that, yeah. Same size, yeah. And I remember used to practice in my bedroom, and then my uncle my dad's a big music fan.
Yeah.
But my uncle's like a super music fan. He's seen everybody. And whenever he used to come around and visit, like, oh, let's come and have a listen. Or anybody would come around and say, oh, don't play something for him. I'd be like, I can't play in front of anyone. And they used to have to stand outside my bedroom door with it closed to like listen. And then obviously the more time you spend with it, it's I used to learn pieces of songs, parts of songs that I like. It was very rare that I'd learn an entire song. And then quite early on, I was always more focused on like writing and being able to like create music. So that's something that's carried on right up until now. That's like my main focus.
Because that to me was always straight away was the main thing. I didn't want to learn. Well, obviously you want to learn. So obviously you want to learn some songs. But as soon as without sounding like a cliche, as soon as I knew 3 chords, I was just, all right, I might know E, A, and D. So then I just started playing them all over the net. And I can remember my dad saying to me, I think I was playing an E chord in E major, and I was almost making it sound a bit flamenco, just moving it on down the fretboard. Yeah. And like, my dad said to me, what's that you're doing? And I said, I'm just moving the chord about. There's encouragement for you. Blooming heck, yeah. I just started. So again, that's something, I think that's one of my heroes is Jimmy Page, definitely. And he says himself, look at how many riffs came from just making mistakes.
Yeah.
So I think when you're starting out like that, you just got to, it's easy to say, you've got to have the imagination to do it, but a bit of knowledge goes a long way, but then by the same token, a bit of experimentation takes you probably even further, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then you probably run into a bit of music theory.
Yeah, accidentally. I mean, I think a lot of the time, the way that you write music as well, what you get out, you have to put in. So the more diverse your taste in music, which I have to say mine is extremely diverse these days. You can be writing something that will have a hint of something that you listened to 8 months ago, and you're like, oh, how come that's creeped into my playing without even realizing, And I think listening to music is just as important as playing. So.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, definitely. So, right. So first guitar, So what was your first really good electric guitar?
Right. So after the Squire, my dad's friend sold a Tokai 1984 Strat.
All right. I know what's coming there.
This thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, I put a warm off neck on it. I mean, if you was here to like see how thick this neck is, it's like,
look, I can tell just by looking at it. Yeah.
The boat neck. And then I dropped some bare knuckles in it.
Yeah. Am I sensing a slight Andy Timmons vibe there?
Yeah. Andy Timmons, wow.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm interrupting you again, but all I was going to say was the Beatles album.
I've not listened to that yet.
Oh, I mean, I've got to admit that this is opinion alert coming up again. Not opinion alert. I'm not a massive Beatles fan. Right? I never have been. Right? We'll leave that to one side. But and I was really skeptical about listening to that. Andy Timmons is brilliant.
I'll
really good.
I've been it's been on like the listen list.
Yeah.
So much on the listen list.
Yeah.
I don't like to listen to, I like to listen to an album and then listen to it and listen to it and listen to it and listen to it. I don't like to just listen to it and then move on and move to something else.
Yeah. I did. Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you again. So carry on with about the Tokai. Sorry.
Yeah. So I had that. It used to have it had been butchered. It had like a couple of like super distortions in it or something. But I used to use that a lot when I was a kid at school. And I had a Leveson Blade. Oh
yeah, I remember that.
There's a lot of guitars I've let go. I can't afford to keep them all. And then I had an Ibanez as well, RG550 EX.
That wasn't a Desert Yellow, was it?
It was Galaxy Black.
Ah, right.
That was around the era when I started to get into Steve Vai and Gianni, like every guitar player was really. So that coming across, so it was all the greats, listening to Jason Becker and Paul Gilbert and all those guys. But so out of all of those guys, I remember getting my dad's uncle. He plays guitar. He's left-handed. He's a very good like blues player. He used to come down and bring me CDs, and one of them was G3, and it was the one with Eric Johnson on.
All right, yeah.
And, that was it. I was hooked from there on. And like Eric Johnson is just he's a man.
Yeah, right, got you. Oh, that was answering one of my questions, but I gathered that from things I've seen you talk about before. So what you're saying is then that you seek out the right brand of battery and all that sort of stuff then?
To a certain extent. And then I think you kind of reach a point where you're like, oh, well, I've just wasted that long chasing that.
Yeah. Sorry. So for people that don't know that, he's well known as like a real sort of perfect. He only likes certain brand and type of batteries, doesn't he? And his pedals and his pedal boards always just look such a mess.
They do, yeah.
But which proves that it doesn't have to have. Well, I suppose he's got quite expensive cables, but all these pedal boards now that you see. I mean, I'm a bit of a perfectionist, but it's like someone's obviously spent a lot of time like getting the cable perfectly straight and runs and everything, which is obviously great. But then Eric Johnson comes along with a sheet of plywood, with like loads of cable that he's not bothered trimming down, and it doesn't make any difference.
No, he's not bothered, is it? I mean, you only have to look at. But this is the thing that like the kind of the battle I have with equipment. So I've swapped and changed gear for so long. I mean, my first like major beautiful guitar really was this PRS, and I'll never ever let this thing go. I mean, it's been hacked.
Yeah.
And that sort of stuff. But so you spend all this money on like really fancy gear and everything, and then I think back to and still think about how Brian May sounds and the equipment that he uses, and it's like, okay, so like having nice gear is lovely.
Yeah.
It kind of makes you think twice when you look at what he's doing and how he sounds, because he's got like an old AC30 with anything plugged into it.
Yeah.
New gear's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. So, right. Well, that leads me on to the PRS question, because obviously we're both fans. So you played a Les Paul, didn't you, for a bit?
Yeah, I played Les Paul for a little bit. So I've had a few PRSs. I had a Custom 22. What else did I have? I've had a couple of more single cuts. I've still got the hollow body.
Yeah,
you've probably seen this one or not.
Yeah.
This is a big Incubus fan.
Yeah, good man. Still Mike's best tone. I don't care what anybody says.
Sorry?
It's still Mike's best tone. Mike Isinger's best tone. I mean, I like the Jazz Master. I like the Jazz Master period. So what would that be? Would that be Crow After the Murder, maybe? Yeah, but yeah, Morning View and what's it? Make Yourself. Make Yourself, isn't it? Yeah. Just the tone is just fantastic. But I mean, he's I guess he's been through a lot of guitars recently because of his hand issues, hasn't he? But yeah, still I agree with, I got Morning View, I think, just after they'd played in Nottingham. And then, yeah, just thought, yeah, this just sounds, everything about him, you can tell that he's a very good guitar player, but he doesn't need to tell you all the time.
No.
Yeah.
Which is kind of difficult as a guitar player, isn't it?
Of course it is. Yeah. Yeah.
Throwing extra notes and things.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're fighting all the time against. Well, you're not at the moment because of obviously the way you sort of moved into the instrumental stuff. But I'm fighting against a singer all the time. He's always telling me that I can't have a solo there, and he happens to be my brother-in-law, so I have to be careful. You see. Yeah. Yeah. So, why did you go away from the Les Paul then to the PRS?
I can't really remember. I mean, I think sometimes you change gear when you kind of hit a little bit of a brick wall inspirationally, maybe, or there was nothing wrong with that Les Paul, to be honest. I mean, it was a really good one.
Yeah.
You're probably searching for the question: did it hold its tune in? And
did it intonate?
Yeah, it intonated. It was absolutely beautiful, and I think what did I trade it? I think I traded it for another PRS, to be honest. But like PRS, I've always felt because I've spent so long with them, they feel like, they feel like home, I guess.
Yeah.
Not so bad. I had a Tom Anderson, Music Man. What else now?
A lot there.
Harker Fly for a little bit.
Good what?
Harker Fly.
Did you? Oh God! Right.
Well, I had it, and I had it from new, from a shop in Derby. But it had stainless steel frets, and two of the frets were buzzing really bad.
Right.
So I took it back, and they had to send it away to be dressed, and it come back, and it still wasn't right. So I ended up getting rid of it straight away. So I can't be doing with fret buzz. So.
No. So. But what was there a player that sort of was there a player who played PRS that maybe made you think about getting one?
Santana.
Was it? All right.
Yeah, Santana. Yeah. So I bought is it Supernatural, that album?
Oh yeah.
I got that, and there was a picture of him on the back of the cover. I think it's on the back, playing this guitar, and I was like, "Whoa, what's that?" It must have been like 12, something like that. So it was many years to reach that point, but and then I got into Creed was such a massive Nickelback.
I'll let you say the N word.
I really like what they did. I mean, recent years.
I quite like. God, this sounds like a cliche. I like the early albums, right? But the whole rock star thing lost me.
Yeah, it was the same with me, really.
Yeah, because and I can remember because I'm a massive Alice in Chains fan. I've been since day one, and I just remember Jerry Cantrell went on stage with him, and I thought, Jerry, don't do this to me. But
I've got a DVD with him, Jerry Cantrell.
I think that might be the one. Yeah, I mean the thing is, it's easy to be snobby about them. They do what they do. You know, they tune down and they play songs that have got a lot of melody. Well, what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
You know, but I think once Chad started to sort of believe the hype a bit, it lost me a little bit. You see, I shouldn't. I think I'm slightly older than you, so my first PRS memories, I guess. Well, I can remember watching. I can't remember which song it was, but Henry Rollins, or it's probably just the Rollins band there. What's the guitar player's name? Chris Haskett, I think his name was. He played a white PRS.
Oh, right, okay.
And some years before that, my first I had a cheap Les Paul copy, and then I got an Area Pro 2, like a real super strat with a pointy headstock, a white one. I've always really liked white guitars. And I just remember seeing the Rollins band playing, and Chris Haskett was playing this white. I mean, I didn't know what it was really. I might have seen something, but they weren't sort of what they are today, obviously in terms of exposure. And I thought, oh, that's a smart looking guitar. And apparently, he had all. I think he had his guitar nicked on the tour, and one of the other bands lent him a PRS, and then he's been hooked.
Oh right. Yeah.
So but I guess in whatever year it came out, I'm not going to say what year because you'll be able to work out all down. I remember buying the John Mellencamp album. Well, you can work it out now by looking what year it came out. Whenever We Wanted, which is the first album that David Grissom played on all of it. I think he'd played a few songs on the album before, but I bought the cassette tape for that. I don't know what, I must have heard a song on it, but and then I remember seeing Grissom advertising PRS guitars in a magazine. So yeah. Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, just for what I like and for what I like, it's just the best to me. If I got to have somebody's sound, it would be that. It's overdriven, but not too much.
Yeah.
But it's just the punch of it and the dynamics range that he just, it's just fantastic. But that record, Whenever We Wanted, I think I'm right in saying dry as a bone. The guitars have got no reverb on at all. And it just so in your face. It's just, I think it's just he plays 50 watt Marshall, I think, at that point. So that was, but I still didn't. I was starting to get into sort of grunge and stuff, I suppose you want to call it that, and specifically Pearl Jam. So that's got me into wanting a Les Paul. I'd always been aware of PRS, but kept stuck with the Les Pauls until the single cut came out. And then I decided to try one. Oh, and yeah, here we go. It stayed in tune better. It intonated better. It felt better. The neck, it's everything, So I guess, for me, it was seeing this Rollins video, but then Grissom. And I guess the other one would be Dave Navarro.
Oh, yeah, actually, he was at 24, didn't he?
Yeah. And for years, white PRS, I really wanted a Dave Navarro model, which was basically a custom 24 with gold hardware. He again, so he's sort of one of the two main, but three with this sort of guy from the Rollins band that I remember. But yeah, then getting into Incubus, same as you said. I guess it's that point with those sort of bands, Incubus, Creed. I know Santana as well, but they started to sort of get PRS a bit more into the consciousness, and that's where they really took off, I guess. So I'm going to have to ask you about Orange Amplifiers because you've done a great bit of product placement there. Again, why Orange? Keep it short.
They're just reliable and simple, and they sound good. So,
well, that was short. Well done. Right. Yeah. So, do you mainly use the rocker verb for gigs when you're gigging?
Yeah. Well, I've recently been using the rocker because, like, doing my solo stuff now, I've sort of split the duties of singing and playing guitar. So, taking less guitar gear and taking more vocal gear.
How dare you say that? Less guitar gear? Are you mad?
Yeah, but I mean, I was just finding it because I'm using in-ears now,
right?
And I've tried like the direct route. I've had an Axe FX that's gone now. I had that for a long time actually. But for me, live now, I've never had a better sound monitor-wise than putting a 57 in front of the cab and direct feed into my ears, and then so doing that, I was like, oh well, this 50 watt amp kicks out quite a bit of volume. As you know, it's quite. It's you don't think it's going to be that loud, do you? 15 watts.
No. Well, let's be honest. I think both. I've got a Morgan head and a Friedman Mini Dirty Shirley, 20 watts each. You're just not gonna. You don't need it. And these days, you're not gonna. Even a 50-watt head is too much, even for. We played like. I don't know what the capacity of the hall was. It was probably 300 or 400 people. There weren't 300 or 400 people there, unfortunately, right? But it could have been, yeah. And I had the Friedman. I think it was the second or third time I'd used it. I had the Friedman on 3 on the master volume, and the bloke came and said, "Well, could you just turn down a little bit because we don't need the PA." It was that loud. I said, "I'm only on 3." So, 15, 20 watts. Plus the fact you actually turn it up. Well, it lets you turn it up louder, but you're going to get more out of the amp from the power section. Obviously, aren't you? And juicing it a bit more. So I must admit I've been interested in trying like the Terra amps. I've never played through one. I must get around to trying one at some point because they do seem like a good bang for the buck.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good value for money, really. I mean, this is basically like a tiny Terra with an effects loop and an extra channel.
Right. Yeah.
They've like revamped it basically. So, I mean, they started all the lunchbox heads, didn't they? Really,
yeah.
The first one. So, and like pretty much every company makes them now. So,
So go on. Sorry, go on.
There's so many great sounding amps.
Yeah.
I've been fortunate enough to try out a lot of great amps, and you can get great sounds out of all of them. It's just, find what you like. And I think we're saying with any gear, the most important thing should be, does it inspire you to go and pick up that instrument or plug it in and either just noodle around and have a good time or write some music? It's.
Yeah. I agree.
What it comes down to.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing these days. Let's not get too into pedals and stuff because we'll be here for a long time. But some of these pedals, all I'll say is, some of these pedal boards that you see are how the hell do people actually move them about? That's the first thing. But I guess it's I don't know whether you saw the Bonamassa, I'm going to say, got into trouble. You know what I mean? Some people didn't like what he said when he started talking about, people rely too much on pedals. And I get partly where he's coming from, but by the same token, you play what you play, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a massive Bonamassa fan. He's like one of my favourite players.
Yeah.
So, he seems really like, to me, he seems really genuine.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. The problem is people can't take somebody famous like it is having an opinion that they don't like.
Yeah, and if it was just like one of your mates who says that, you wouldn't read into it that much. It's because of his status that people have kind of, look at him, he's turned into a snob. Look at his old pedal board. Well, he's allowed to. I mean, his pedal boards used to be huge, didn't they? Back in, when was it? Late 90s.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose around maybe like the slow Jim period, maybe when he was doing that. Yeah. Wow. And when he had like the Dumble and the Marshall Jubilee heads and everything. Yeah, what a sound. Yeah.
Yeah. He's got one of the best guitar sounds ever.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm not sure. No, I won't say what I was going to say. Yeah, I'll say it. No, I mean, I'm not sure. I don't know whether I've got quite a few of his last sort of 2 or 3 albums. I'd like him to try and do something different next. I'm not saying he's going to start doing a drum and bass album, but he could maybe. I think to me, sounds like he's very comfortable working with the same people in terms of production and that. I wish maybe there's a little movement somewhere he could go.
Yeah.
But I think the sound that he's getting with like the twins and with like 1 or 2 pedals is just fantastic.
Yeah, it's just pure.
If you watch, there's a really good. Premier Guitar rig rundown from last year maybe, and he's loud.
Yeah,
he's cranking those Fenders to Yeah. Cool. Well, we could keep geeking out like this forever. I suppose the one last thing I ought to ask you is about sort of what have you got coming up project-wise over the next, well, when we can sort of try and get back to normal. Let's put gigs to one side for the minute, but what have you been playing, or have you got some stuff ready for releasing, or?
Yeah, so I've been doing like extra like covers and stuff for YouTube, you know, just doing a lot of like Disney covers and trying to make them my own. It's been fun. I love Disney. So and then so last year I released my first solo album, like rock album. And I've just done an acoustic project, so I'm gonna be releasing that soon. And I've written my second album, that's finished. I'll start recording that properly in the next few weeks, really, next month or so. It's rough, really. And then I've been focusing a lot on my voice, like spending this time, working on warm-ups and techniques, and just trying to focus on singing and playing guitar at the same time, getting more comfortable. So when we're all set free, I've not wasted the time.
No.
So yeah, it's kind of hard sometimes when you look at social media as like a platform to see what some of your favorite players are doing or friends are doing and everything, and sometimes you're thinking, oh, you can see that they're up to this and that's up to that, but a lot of the time people are doing a lot more than what they're actually sharing.
Of course they are. Because they're actually doing something, not telling us all about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean,
well, that's it. Yeah, what I was going to say was that's a good place maybe to wrap things up. Just saying that it's easy to get involved in that. Again, I saw David Grissom talking about this recently. It's easy to get wrapped up in that competitive thing particularly on Instagram, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So for the very thing you've just said, it's almost like, come on, such and such, why have you not posted anything? I want to see what you do. Well, it's because they're actually doing something, or they've got a real life and they've still got to work for a living. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And I think it's kind of, I think social media is a little bit toxic anyway, because you only get to see the best parts.
Yeah.
People don't share the bads.
No.
But every now and then I'll put out a post of like, try and remind people that anything I'm working on, I still have to like practice loads, and there's still loads and loads of blooper rolls, and you don't always sit down and record the best stuff you do straight away.
So you know what we're going to do? We're going to end there with that's the best sentiment I can say. Practice loads.
Yeah, practice loads, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. Or as I say to my students, just play.
Yeah, well, it's not practice. I mean,
no, exactly.
I'm just playing.
Yeah. If I say to a 10-year-old, are you going to practice that then? I just say, just have a play, see what happens. Yeah, that's the thing. Cool, nice one. That was great. Thank you for doing that. So
nice to catch up.
Yeah, and maybe as and when we get out of this madness properly, when you get something released, we should do this again, because the stuff that I heard of your first solo album I really like, so it'd be interesting to see. Is it a similar direction, or are you
it's a little bit heavier?
Yeah, cool.
I wrote that so long ago, you see. So
yeah. Nice one. Right, cheers then, mate. Thank you for that. See you later. Cheers.